welcome back to Tales from Japan. We're actually changing the title. It's just a little thing. Tales from Japan is a lot more accurate and descriptive of what the show is than Tales from the East. So I thought, we can be flexible with the show. We can change it around. So from now on, we're going to be calling it Tales from Japan. I'm back after a many-month-long absence. I'm really sorry about that. I feel tremendously guilty. But there were two reasons why this show got delayed for so long. One is I had several big reviews that I really wanted to focus on, and I didn't want to do kind of anything else as I was working on those things. And the other reason is I felt like I had something to say with this episode, a little bit beyond the scope of what I said with the first episode, and I wasn't sure how to say it properly. And so I wanted to spend some time stewing on it and thinking about it, and I think I've finally come up with the words. So I hope you enjoy, and the next episode will come out much more quickly than this one did. One thing I want to make clear before we get into the heart of this episode is what I'm talking about I don't have footage for and I can't get footage for. So what I've decided to do in its place is I went to the Pokemon Center in Tokyo and I went to Tokyo Game Show and I saw so many wonderful things there that there maybe isn't enough for its own entire video, but I still wanted to share that footage with you guys so you could see it, so you could get excited about it too. And so I hope that even though the words aren't necessarily matching up with the sites that you're seeing, you still enjoy it regardless. I hope you're all ready for some stories because there are 3 different experiences that I had with total strangers in Japan that I want to share with you. And the first story involves a hotel clerk. As Camera Ghost and I were coming into Japan, it was very late at night, and we took a taxi to where a reservation was, or where we thought our reservation was, the APA Hotel. And we get there, and there's a big line, and we have to wait for, 15, 20 minutes, and we finally get up there, and I pull up the reservation on my phone, and I show it to the clerk, and he looks very tired. It's must have been a long shift, some sort of stressful day. I don't know exactly what was going on for him. And I show him the reservation, and he turns a little pale. And he tries to explain to us that the reservation is for a different APA hotel, and we went to the wrong one. And Camera Ghost and I look at each other, and we're so disappointed. We just want... we've been on a plane for so many hours, we just want to lay our heads down and rest. And he can see that we're frustrated, and rather than turning us away for what is clearly our mistake, he starts writing some notes down on a piece of paper. And, the sort of exhausted look that he had vanishes, and he looks really determined. And after a few minutes of not saying anything at all, he says, as best he can, there's a pretty significant language barrier here, that, you know what, we'll put you guys in a room, we'll make it work, I will call the other hotel and explain to them what happened. And I was really blown away. It was kind of my first significant encounter with a person in this country, and they were willing to put more work on themselves to help us out, and it's not the biggest thing in the world. This man didn't save me from a car crash or anything like that, but I thought it was an incredibly nice gesture, and it made me extremely grateful. There are a lot of times I'll go to places and it's like the business people don't want me to be there, that they're aggravated by my presence, and this person helped us out so much, and I really appreciated it. The second story I want to share involves when Camera Ghost and I were traveling to Luida's Bar in Roppongi. And what Luida's Bar is, it's a Dragon Quest themed bar. And if you're a Dragon Quest fan and you go to Japan, you absolutely have to go here. It's wonderful. There's Dragon Quest memorabilia hung up on the wall. There are a bunch of TVs playing Dragon Quest trailers. The music is going constantly. I heard the theme song probably 10 times while I was eating, and it was wonderful. You can get meat buns in the shape of slimes. It is just a wonderful place that I wish I could live in forever. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that as we were going there, we got lost, and we were wandering the streets of Roppongi, not really sure how to get to the bar, and all of a sudden this taxi drives really, really close to us and stops. Just suddenly stops, slams on the brakes. And this man gets out of the taxi, and at this point, Camera Ghost and I are very, very, very scared. We're not sure what is happening. And the man says, "Are you lost?" And he comes up to us, and we say we're going to the Dragon Quest bar, and he knows exactly what we're talking about, which is wonderful. And he says, "Oh, here's how you go there." And he gave us directions, and after finishing his directions, he asked again. He's like, "Are you sure you know where you're going?" And he just, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what his goal was for the night, but the fact that he took time out of his day to help us so thoroughly was incredible. And it made my experience at this place I wanted to go to so badly even better. And I felt bad that we were scared at first, that we assumed the worst in this person. The third and final story I want to share is one that probably hit me the hardest. This is near the end of the trip, and Camera Ghost and I decided to go to Kyoto. And as we were trying to figure out the trains, it was very obvious that we were lost. We had a map pulled out, and just were standing in this very busy train station, not sure what to do. And once again, someone comes up to us and asks us if we need help. But, this wasn't a man in a taxi or anything like that. This was a woman who had a baby. She was holding a baby that couldn't have been more than a few months old. And she approached us like it was no big deal at all. And we told her where we were trying to go. And she turns around, doesn't say anything. She runs off and she goes and she gets an attendant that worked at the train station to try to help us. And she was so kind. And the fact that she showed no hesitation, the fact that she already had a lot to deal with, the baby got a little upset as she was talking with us, didn't matter to her. She wasn't thinking about herself. She was trying to help two foreigners that had no idea what they were doing. And it moved me in a very big way. It came out of nowhere and I wasn't expecting it, and it's a moment that I think will always stick with me. The reason I'm sharing these stories at all is because they made me realize something about myself that I wasn't aware of before. I've been living in Los Angeles now for about 3 years, and I love the city, but there are things that are very frustrating, and it's very easy to get frustrated, especially when you're driving. And every time somebody cuts me off or does something I think is stupid, I get so mad. And it kind of creates this wall around me where, I don't want to talk to anybody, I don't want to help anybody out, I get very cynical. And there are times where I've seen people in the city that don't know where they're going. They're clearly either tourists or they just moved here. And I just get annoyed and I roll my eyes. But when I go to this country, when I went to Japan, and when I wasn't expecting anything out of anyone, I was treated with so much kindness. People going out of their way to help me and to do something just because they thought it was right. And it's made me want to do that. It's made me want to take those situations where I'm frustrated or where I assume somebody just doesn't get it or they're just getting in my way, to take a moment and reflect and say, no, like, why don't I help them out? And it's something that I think all of us do very easily, where we want the world to be a better place. We want the world to be a nicer place. But instead of doing something about it, we just get angry, and rather than take action, we just make a list of all of the things that get under our skin. And I think that's not productive. That's not helping anybody. That's not actually making those frustrations go away. That's going to do it for the second episode of Tales from Japan. I hope you enjoyed it. For the third and likely final episode, I think I'm going to keep it lighthearted. I just want to show you guys cool things, and I don't know if there's going to be some deeper message there, but it's just going to be fun. I'm just going to show you things from a place that I really fell in love with. As always, I think it's important to end all of these videos with cats, because I think every EZA video should end that way, honestly. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. and I will see you next time.